Video game designer Brendan often delves into studies where scientists employ maze-running rats to understand how organisms use memory to learn and adapt. He's deeply absorbed in these principles, applying them to his game designs and emphasizing the vital role memory plays in human progress. On a day at the beach with his wife Claire and their daughter Sam, they cherish a delightful time together. After a brief rest, Sam decides to explore for shells with her beloved Curious George toy, assuring she won't venture into the water. But while engrossed in collecting shells, the waves snatch away the toy, compelling Sam to enter the water in pursuit. Tragically, she's overcome by the strong sea current and doesn't return. Amidst overwhelming support during the funeral, Brendan and Claire are left in profound devastation. Claire grapples with a surreal feeling of unreality, while Brendan struggles to function, often breaking down in Sam's room. Months pass, and Claire, feeling it's time for a change, initiates packing up Sam's belongings. However, Brendan isn't emotionally prepared, and he panics, pleading with Claire to leave everything untouched. As he handles his daughter's cherished books, he notices an odd discrepancy in the spelling of Berenstain Bears, which he distinctly remembers as having an E instead of the A in the title. Restless at night, Brendan, unable to sleep, suddenly hears a mysterious noise. Armed with a bat, Brendan heads to the kitchen upon hearing a noise, ready to defend, only to find his brother-in-law Matt raiding the fridge. They share a late-night snack while conversing, and Brendan brings up the book title, relieved to discover that Matt, too, recalls it being spelled with an E. Still unable to sleep, Brendan delves into internet searches, stumbling upon numerous articles discussing the discrepancy. He learns about the Mandela effect, a phenomenon where groups of people collectively hold false memories, often attributing them to alternate timelines or parallel universes. The term stems from the misconception that Nelson Mandela had died in prison. The revelation unsettles Brendan, but it offers a plausible explanation for the shared misremembering. The following morning, as Claire prepares to resume work, Brendan notices a family photo on the refrigerator. The image features the Griffith Observatory. When Brendan questions it, Claire confidently recalls the picture being taken there. However, Brendan distinctly remembers capturing that same photo at the Pacific Science Center. Claire dismisses his recollection as confusion and resumes her work. After sharing his findings on the Mandela effect with Matt, Brendan passionately delves deeper, exploring numerous examples and theories surrounding this phenomenon. Convinced they might be shifting between parallel realities or exist within a simulation, Brendan immerses himself in documentaries, studying string theory, and pondering the potential reality of a matrix. His growing obsession seems a way to divert his mind from grief, evident as he takes copious notes and fixates on the subject. Seeking solace, Brendan visits a priest to understand why a child like Sam was taken. The priest offers an explanation, stating that Sam's passing wasn't a part of God's plan, but rather a result of human free will, a cherished gift bestowed by God. Returning home, Brendan delves into the concept of free will as part of his ongoing obsession. In a subsequent meeting with Matt, Brendan persists in discussing the topic. Matt shares insights from a neurologist friend, elucidating that human brains aren't flawless. Memories often get jumbled, and our minds fill in gaps with external information. This perspective suggests a scientific explanation for shared misremembering and the Mandela effect. As Brendan's obsession with the Mandela effect persists, Claire expresses concern over his withdrawn behavior during dinner. Seeking to illustrate his point, Brendan prompts Claire to describe the Monopoly Man, which she recalls having a monocle. However, upon checking the game box, they find no such feature. Brendan then brings out Sam's Curious George book, insisting the drawings used to include a tail on the monkey, even recalling Sam's plushie with a tail. Claire feels uncomfortable with Sam's memory being brought into the discussion, especially regarding her passing. Brendan persists, citing Claire's own earlier statement about feeling the situation was unreal after the funeral. As Brendan delves into the concept of shifting realities, Claire becomes exasperated, reproaching Brendan for fixating on his obsession rather than moving forward from their loss. In an attempt to distract himself, Brendan joins Claire and Matt on a double date, but his preoccupation prevents him from engaging in conversation. Seeking solace at the bar, Matt reminds Brendan of the need for mutual support between him and Claire. Acknowledging the importance of their bond, Brendan returns to the table. However, once home, Brendan resumes his quest on the computer, exploring the simulation theory suggesting a computer-programmed reality. His notes multiply, and he constructs a board, fervently seeking evidence of a parallel universe where Sam is alive. He immerses himself in videos featuring prominent figures like Elon Musk and Neil deGrasse Tyson discussing the subject. Eventually, he stumbles upon the name Roland Fuchs, reportedly researching methods to prove the simulation theory. Brendan faces difficulties accessing the video of Dr. Fuchs's lecture, resorting to piracy sites that maintain backups. Despite encountering a corrupted file, he employs specialized software to restore it. The video showcases Dr. Fuchs discussing the simulation theory, but becomes corrupted once more, leaving Brendan with nothing substantial. Determined not to abandon his quest, Brendan hunts down Fuchs's current workplace and records a video message, hoping for a response. With days passing and no reply, Brendan takes the initiative to visit the university in person. However, Dr. Fuchs, preoccupied with commitments, cannot spare time for an unfamiliar enthusiast. That night, in an attempt to rekindle intimacy with Claire, Brendan abruptly stops, believing he hears Sam calling out to him. Frustrated by Brendan's behavior, Claire urges him to seek guidance from a grief counselor. However, instead of following through with his promise, Brendan heads to Fuchs's residence the next day, persuading the doctor to spare a few moments for a conversation. Dr. Fuchs clarifies that the Mandela effect stems from false memories, but he theorizes they might be clues arising from glitches within the simulation after system updates. Brendan, considering the possibility of reality as a computer code, suggests hacking it. However, Fuchs dismisses this notion as impractical, and instead decides to show Brendan the university. During their journey, they discuss the concept of the world existing due to conscious observation. Brendan likens it to video games, where areas load only when a player enters them, otherwise remaining dormant. He posits that overwhelming the processor could disrupt the simulation, requiring a potent machine like a quantum computer, information Fuchs discloses the university possesses. Upon entering the lab, Dr. Manning interrupts their conversation, disapproving of Brendan's presence. Fuchs hastily escorts Brendan back to his home, suspecting interference from the simulation, believing Brendan might be a flaw in the system. He emphasizes the potency of ideas and their potential danger. Concerned about the nature of the simulation, whether it's for entertainment or seeks control, Brendan draws parallels between the entity behind it and political or corporate power, prompting worries about its intentions and potential influence. Brendan is tormented by a vivid dream of Sam's tragic passing, awakening to what he believes to be Sam's voice calling out to him. Rushing to her room, he glimpses a human-shaped shadow glitching before vanishing. Attempting to clear his mind, he takes a drive but struggles, viewing the world as interconnected code linked to a quantum computer. Falling asleep in the car, Brendan awakens in a downtown alley, disoriented. A piercing, jarring noise overwhelms him, causing intense pain and reality to glitch before abruptly snapping back to his usual surroundings. To his astonishment, Brendan finds Sam in her room upon leaving his, only for her to vanish moments later, leaving behind Claire in an empty room. Troubled by these surreal experiences, Brendan grapples with his sanity, while Claire attempts to console him. Seeking answers, Brendan immerses himself in books on quantum computing, fervently working on a code he believes could disrupt the simulation. Consumed by his coding endeavors, Brendan's obsessive behavior raises concerns for Claire. One night, Sam visits her parents' room after a nightmare, seeking solace. Brendan peacefully sleeps beside her, only to awaken the next morning to an empty bed, left bewildered and increasingly distressed by these perplexing events. Brendan, bewildered by Sam's unexpected presence and the rewritten reality where no one remembers her passing, seeks confirmation from everyone he knows, only to find no recollection of Sam's death. Feeling the simulation has returned his daughter to halt his coding efforts, Brendan remains ecstatic to have Sam back. The family spends joyous moments together until Claire abruptly wakes from a harrowing nightmare, showing signs of distress. Hoping to uplift Claire's spirits, Brendan organizes a family outing to paint pottery. Yet, tension mounts as cracks appear on Brendan's pot, triggering Claire's erratic behavior. Returning home, Brendan attempts to calm Claire, but she fixates on Sam, expressing agitation, claiming the girl shouldn't be there. Concerned for Claire's deteriorating mental state due to the altered reality, Brendan enlists Matt's help to look after Sam and hurries to Fuchs's residence. However, he's met by Fuchs's wife, revealing Fuchs self-deleted months earlier after being disregarded by the science community. Convinced of the simulation's influence and desperate to correct the situation, Brendan resumes working on the code. He records a video for his family, fearing the simulation may harm him as it allegedly did Fuchs. Meanwhile, Matt tends to Claire, who has become catatonic amidst the unsettling chaos. Once Brendan completes the code, he heads to the university to access the quantum computer. Manning obstructs his path and tries to alert security. In an attempt to stop Manning, Brendan accidentally pushes too hard, resulting in Manning hitting his head and tragically passing away. Brendan feels immense guilt, but takes Manning's card key and proceeds. Upon reaching the computer, Brendan uses a USB stick to implant his code. As he observes the numbers scrolling and the flickering computer lights, peculiar noises emerge from the machine. Rushing outside, Brendan finds the parking lot empty and his car missing. Suddenly, he finds himself on a bus receiving a distressing call from his unwell wife. During the bus ride, Brendan notices glitches. A passenger phases through the bus floor, and a nearby couple's faces distort. Alarmed, Brendan exits the bus and witnesses various glitches in the city, fluctuating daytime, shifting tree colors, and two moons in the sky. Finally returning home, Brendan embraces his family tightly as glitches disrupt their surroundings. Claire's face distorts, and she screams in anguish while two moons collide, plunging everything into darkness. Subsequently, the screen displays code as the universe undergoes a reboot, traversing epochs of history from the beginning. As the reboot concludes, Brendan finds solace on a beach with his family. This time, when Sam plans to hunt for shells, Brendan ensures she leaves behind the curious George toy, safeguarding her life.